Have you ever heard of the ladder analogy? Imagine somebody climbing a ladder, getting to the very top, and then realizing, hey, this isn't where I wanted to go. The analogy is this: we each have a ladder, and there are hundreds, literally hundreds of places where we could put that ladder and start climbing. Most people just tend to follow the crowd and put their ladder on the closest wall or the wall that everybody else is putting theirs on. And then they just start climbing. There's one very big problem with that. As Stephen Covey put it, if the ladder is not leaning against the right wall, every step just gets us to the wrong place faster. About a year ago, I realized I was climbing a ladder that I didn't want to be climbing and that I didn't care about: college. Some of my life experiences led me to realize that almost every decision I had made up to that point in my life was because I was just following the crowd. It took me a while, but eventually I had the courage to drop out of school and pursue something that I had wanted to do my whole life: start a business. Throughout this process, I've stumbled upon worldviews, philosophies, teachings that have totally shifted my worldview and allowed me to see things in a totally new perspective. Intentional living, minimalism, essentialism, stoicism, and of course God. All of these have guided me down a personal journey of discovery and growth, and have helped me to take my ladder and put it on the wall that I actually want it to be on. So let's talk about these 3 quotes that I have found either before or during this time that have totally guided me and allowed me to live a life of purpose and meaning. The first one I found in my favorite modern book, Essentialism by Greg McKeown. In the book, he quotes a nurse named Ware. She cared for people in the last 12 weeks of her life, and she wrote a book called The 5 Regrets of the Dying. In the book, she talks about the top 5 regrets of the dying, actual words her patients have said. The most common of which is, "I wish I had the courage to live a life true to myself instead of the life others expected of me." Life is so short. When I think about this quote, it lights a fire under my butt. It makes me think deeply about why I'm here on this earth, what God wants me to do, and all of the precious time that He has given me. I don't want to live the life other people expect of me. Since I broke down my personal social scripts, I've never felt more peace and more guidance. Once I started making my own decisions, it became much easier to check in with God and see what He thought about my decisions. And maybe that was because I was finally being honest with myself, and so He could be honest with me. Additionally, Ray Dalio says, "The happiest people on earth find their nature and match their life to it." Notice that he doesn't say the happiest people on earth do exactly what their parents, friends, and grandparents want them to do. Be the chess player, not the chess piece. The second quote that made a really big difference for me was found in Tim Ferriss's 4-Hour Workweek, which, by the way, is an excellent book. I would recommend it to anybody who needs a shift in perspective. Here's the quote: "Many a false step was made by standing still." The reason I love this quote is because it highlights the importance of taking action. There are so many times in our lives where we can be completely paralyzed by all the different options surrounding us. And instead of taking action down one path, we just stand still. And that's the false step that we end up making. In contrast, when we have the courage to take just one step towards a potential goal, we then gain the courage to take the next step and the next step. And pretty soon we're living the life of our dreams instead of just talking about it. I never met my maternal grandfather, but my mom said he would always say, "If you're careful enough, nothing good or bad will ever happen to you." The third is this one from Machiavelli: "All courses of action are risky, so prudence comes not in avoiding danger, it is impossible, but in calculating risk and acting decisively. Develop the strength to do bold things, not the strength to suffer." Develop the strength to do bold things, not the strength to suffer. Our society has developed learned helplessness to the degree that we think we are supposed to suffer. We might not say it out loud, but many of us think, "I'm poor because I was born to suffer. I'm unhappy because that's just how life is. My family background destined me to have unhappy relationships." I hated nearly everything about college, and I would say that it was suffering. And I would always tell myself, I just need to get through this suffering, and then at the end of it, I'll go start my business. At the end of these 4 years, after I finish suffering, then I'll do what I was born to do. But when I had the courage to actually be honest with myself and face the music, I realized that at the end of the degree I was pursuing was an end I didn't even want, which was a corporate job. Because I wasn't honest with myself, I suffered until about 90 to 95% of my life was something that I didn't enjoy and that I didn't want. When 90 to 95% of your life is something you hate, it's hard to get up in the morning. It's hard to care about anything. After the suffering was nearly unbearable, I decided to do a bold thing. I decided to drop out. People would tell me, "You're so brave, way to go, starting a business is so risky." But as Machiavelli says, all courses of action are risky. Who's to say that starting a business is riskier than going to college? What concrete evidence do you have to support that? And at the end of the day, what is risk, really? Financial risk, opportunity risk, risk of failure? I'm much more worried about spending 4 years living other people's expectations than some sort of short-term financial risk. As Brendon Burchard says, why, when we have been endowed with the heart of lions, do we live as mice? This video was designed to help you start on your own delayed life plan. It's going to take much more energy than you think, and the sooner you start, the sooner you'll face the problems that will inevitably come, and the faster you'll be able to overcome them. Just to be clear, I'm not telling everyone to drop out of college. I'm just telling you to think for yourself, to be intentional, to be the chess player, not the chess piece. Thanks so much for watching the video. If you enjoyed it, please share it with one person who needs to hear it. And also below this video, you can download a list of my top favorite quotes of all time, all of the ones that I've collected over my journey, because these were just a few of what has helped me get over internal problems and really start changing my life. Again, I hope you enjoyed the video, and I will see you in the next one.